This is the first week of June, and the proposal for this video was back in March, but I don't think a lot has changed fundamentally about radio or media in cities or how it affects education. So I'm sticking pretty much to the original outline. I'm adding a bit of theory. I've found a keynote by Peggy Deamer, which I think is very relevant. It expands on what the role of architecture is, and I think it could relate to radio or sound or centres of education within a city. I like the idea of buildings as a setting for a scenario, because one of the radio shows I work on is a drama show, and I'm still trying to find out what that is about, more or less. Mainly I work on chat and music shows, We Don't Know and The Wild Show, and here are some clips from what's been happening during the lockdown, starting with Zoom and then gradually meeting in the open air.
Technology, it's good. So I can now say to you, look.
My goodness, look at that.
I'm in the studio.
Now that is a studio. Right, so JD, just talk a little bit, because that looks to be a mixer. And
it is a mixer, yes.
So these things are very important.
Yes, if you want a cocktail made, you need a mixer.
Yes.
Here's one for you.
Yes. Oh, right.
This is Access All Aerials is mixer.
Right.
It's a very high tech. So we've got a few buttons. If I move to one side.
Yeah.
There we go.
Right.
You can see a bit more of it, you see?
Yes, yes.
Okay. Very high tech.
So that's what they've got at the moment. That's what they've got.
Yes, that's their studio. I can probably find the studio. Just give me a few minutes. Chris is having a funny time down below me.
Yeah, well, let's have a look at Chris, because he's got a new background up. Chris, you've got to say something to get.
Okay. Now, do you see my background?
Oh, we do. When was
okay.
No, you've got. Yes, just stay. It comes and goes, Chris, but it's good at the moment. Yeah, that's fine. So,
yeah.
When was that taken?
About 4 years ago.
Yeah, it's very impressive. That is all good.
It's when I had an iPad.
Right. So all these things, if we'd got an iPad, we could get all these special effects just like that.
Just like
that.
So, JT, if we were just moving about Exeter with a suitcase and a trolley, what sort of kit do you think we could take with us that would allow us to record things or broadcast?
A thing called a mobile phone. Do you know what that is?
A mobile phone?
A mobile phone would do the whole thing.
Oh, okay. So. Right.
Yes.
A mobile phone
would do 2 baked bean tins and a piece of string.
Oh, that's another option.
That's the old one. Yes.
Right.
That's the old tech.
Yes. But so really, just take a mobile phone and connect up to a studio somewhere else. Is that the idea, or could we?
Yes.
Could we broadcast directly to the ether sphere?
Well, you could record your program and just send it out online. There we go. Another way.
So does it matter that it's live? If it just was broadcast half an hour later or a couple of days later or something?
Okay. I phoned in. I listened into Frolic FM.
Yes.
Okay, last week.
Yes.
And I was convinced that I was in the studio. Okay.
Right.
But I wasn't. You see.
No.
And I said to myself that if you got hold of me, a professional, and that's got me there, then you've got a listener.
Well, yes, because you'd have to be very confused to believe you were somewhere else at the same time.
And what's JD?
Well, he's testing out his own iPhone.
Yeah, I
He'll
know.
probably have his own version of this occasion.
I've got the evidence.
Yeah.
You've got the evidence.
Oh yeah, I haven't seen JD since he lost his phone on the roof of his car.
Yeah, he has lost one iPhone, but he's mysteriously managed to get another one as well.
Yeah, because he got a robust case on now, so
Yeah.
if it falls off the top of his car,
Should be alright.
yeah.
So, JD, listen,
Yes,
you can keep your own recording of this as well,
yes, I
because
can.
we may need to back up the soundtrack. You never know.
Okay,
But what I want to ask you is,
yes.
you seem to be taking it quite seriously, this idea of a studio, a
Yes.
mobile studio, or
Yes.
a temporary studio. You think it could be a permanent thing?
It not necessarily has to be a studio, it could just be a place to go and work.
Right?
So we've had enough of Chris. We
Yeah.
send him off
Yeah.
and he can do a program and send it in to us. Then we have a very quiet Thursday morning,
Ah, right,
right?
right.
So, or if you need to put things together for a program,
Yeah.
you've got a place to do it with very high technical equipment, shall we say.
Right.
Because at the moment, all we've got is this board over here
Yeah.
and his phone.
And his phone. Yes.
Yes.
He's
Yeah,
getting lost in his phone as well now.
This
Right round
is
here,
a
we can see
third
his phone, right?
recording of this
And the coffee.
conversation.
Yes.
So
Which we
a
will need to-
third recording will work great.
Right. Okay.
Okay,
Well,
so
I've got the software now to put all three recordings together.
Well, there you
Yeah.
go. Right.
So,
and we expect this to happen.
of course.
Okay?
Right.
So, essentially, we're just looking for some spare space somewhere in the middle of Exeter.
I think you need somewhere where it's easy accessible for
Yeah.
that chap over there,
Yes.
that chap there,
Yeah.
and Nick.
Yes.
Yeah.
So it's
No,
not,
not him.
No, we do it in a corner somewhere
Yeah,
as a backup.
yeah,
No, we
so
need-
we
we-
can sack him.
Yes, we sacked the producer. We feel better for that.
Yeah.
I'm bringing the biggest sack next time we go back on air, Chris.
Okay.
Go on
All
top
right.
of your head.
Well, look, I'm going to stop that because I can see
Yeah.
this is going to get into a real
It
argument
really
sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
The temporary radio studio could be problem-based learning, but we're not really sure what the problem is at the moment. I think JD has a serious result in mind. I'm happy to try things out, and it's just becoming it's not exactly art. Somebody else might make it into art, but it's more of a concept or an exploration. And I think Chris just wants to be back in a proper studio now. So whatever we've said about the potential of social media and mobile devices, we're somewhere in between, or at least we'd like to be back in a studio with 3 people and work out whatever else is happening. But I don't think we're alone in this. I think the situation could be very similar for sound, music, radio and education as well. I just wanted to say another thing about the student accommodation and the move online and so forth, which ends up as drama because it's just a sort of way of raising topics about reality, but it's getting closer to ask straightforward questions. I think the Express and Echo today, the front page and inside is about student accommodation. So there's a development going to be close to the cathedral and the high street. The upper floors of shops are going to become student accommodation, and also on the campus or near the campus, there's a lot going to be demolished and redeveloped much higher. Over 1,000 new spots, and just asking the question as obviously as I can without loading it too much. I just noticed there's no speculation or reporting about what's going to happen with online learning or the need for accommodation or lecture halls or libraries or so forth. there's quite a lot of reports about department stores or office space in central London. All of that gets thought about, but it just seems to be assumed that the campus will continue more or less the same as ever it has done. So everything will be back to normal, and also with the schools, there's discussion now about what money is available, what can be done, and tutoring is obviously a good thing, but the online aspect just seems to have been forgotten about at the moment, and I just think it's worth looking at and thinking about what effect that has on real space. And by the way, the Echo, I think I'm right in saying the only office or meeting space they've got is in Plymouth. Just thinking about central Exeter as a sort of stage set, as a location for a temporary radio studio, seems to be going all right if you imagine it as a project, but it's not real. There's no budget for all the equipment that would be needed, so it's sort of time shifted. There may be recordings or photographs mixed up with sound from the studio or something like that. I'm not quite sure how it'll work, but we're not also going to have so many locations that compare with a campus. I think there'll just be a sort of business school marketing bit in the sort of open space between Princess Hay and Southern Hay, where you can take away coffee. It's in the open, so it's better from a COVID point of view, and there's lighting for video, should there be any video. I'm not sure what the scope of urban assemblage is as regards pedagogy or education, because there seems to be a related conference that is either happening next year, or there's YouTube clips appearing from something which happened recently, which is also about online learning. I think things are happening maybe much more quickly, and these things could all be considered at the same time. In Exeter, the university thinks of itself as having started in the 50s on a campus outside the city, but another view is to look back at the museum, the Royal Albert Memorial Museum, which started in the city centre, Queen Street, middle of 19th century, and where the Phoenix and Phonic FM is nearby. One of the consequences of everything becoming digital, moving online, is the cities may get more mixed up, and things can happen in different spaces. So I think it's going to be interesting to see how this works out, and I think it may start within the next few months or a year. Two things happening in Exeter, probably similar things happening in other places. There is a new spectacular civic building, swimming pool and a leisure centre, but it's surrounded by student accommodation. So what it will look like as an area when it's all done is going to be worth investigating. And also the Met Office has got a new computer project working with Microsoft, which is an AI project, but I think it's going to be mostly in the cloud. So the consequence for the Exeter physical space may be that there's less going on rather than more. Not sure about this. We'll see how that works out. But meanwhile, Exeter remains a space for checking out digital.